So in this particular episode, we're talking all about using telehealth to address mental health, or how should we use telemental health. So I want to respond to this poster's concern about some of the cons of using telemental health. You know, this person is pointing out some common things that you could experience in telemental health therapy. Now, in her defense, she does go on to discuss a lot of the pros that she mentions, but just for the sake of this, for time, I'm just going to focus on the cons. I think it's helpful to look at these cons because in preparing for your next telehealth visit or your first telehealth visit, it's important to look at some of these potential snags that they could be a part of your telehealth visit. All right, so here is another response on Quora this time, actually, about using mental telehealth. And the question that they're answering is, how much easier or more difficult is telehealth therapy and counseling for a patient or a mental health professional? So this post was answered by multiple people. In particular, I thought the one that was interesting was a poster named Amy Renfrew, who's actually a social worker, but she's responding as someone who's using telemental health. And so her response is, I'm a reluctant client who has used teletherapy 3 times since the beginning of COVID. My initial intention was to just wait out the social distancing stuff and resume therapy when I was able to meet her face to face again. But then we had a huge disagreement, and letting it wait for several months was clearly a bad idea. Arguing with her via email was actually exacerbating the problem, so I sucked it up and did some video sessions. This is what I found out. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a second because the poster is focusing on things that she doesn't like. And, you know, as we talk about, there's tons and tons of benefits to telemental health, including convenience, access, you know, cost savings, and other things that I mentioned in the episode. But this person is focusing on the things that she doesn't like. So she didn't like, I certainly prefer in-person sessions. I do not feel very connected to her being her therapist. Actual eye contact is impossible, and I find it much harder to read her face when I'm looking at her via on the screen. The program my therapist used does not allow me to minimize the little window of me. I spend too much time watching me talk to me. The nearly imperceptible lag is enough to mess up the flow of speaking. I found we were often accidentally interrupting each other. This is incredibly annoying. A lot of what we were working on before COVID and how we were working, I'm unwilling to do in a room by myself. I'm very apprehensive about getting into any of the heavy stuff over video, as I have a tendency to vacate myself when we do. I fear this will likely go unnoticed by my therapist and myself, and the fallout of that scares me. I have a tendency towards paranoia, and although I know these sessions aren't recorded and are heavily encrypted, that thought that someone out there is watching remains in the back of my mind. It is funny because I logically know that this isn't the case, but nonetheless, it is there. I don't like doing therapy in my house. I am easily distracted if my dog barks or there's a noise downstairs. I have been doing my sessions in my home office, and I don't like the overlap of my workspace and my therapy space. I keep my life very compartmentalized, and this is one context bleeding into another. In episode 12, we give you some solutions to many of these issues, like dealing with the lag time and the dealing with the paranoia. And if you're reading this post, if you feel like, you know, some of these cons might lead you to be hesitant to use telemental health, just remember that you can always ask your telemental health professional, you know, how do you handle things like lag time and, you know, privacy and security before you even start through your initial consultation. But just remember, starting the process is so much better than not having any solution at all. And kudos to Amy, because despite these cons, she realizes that the benefits of having telemental health is better than having nothing at all. And she actually continues these sessions. So kudos to her. Subscribe to the podcast, join our newsletter to get more information.